Creating all of your state actions with all their properties is well and good, but sometimes you're going to need to have a transition occur between these two. With that, when you create your transition between them, how a user gets between these actions is sometimes as important as the actions taking place. You can determine which actions are done to do so based off of these drop downs here. Going through them very quickly, they can either be done through a grab action, which is where a user needs to grab an object in order to move forward, and once that is done, they will move from, in this case, my start to end. You can only have one trigger per transition when going through it. Ungrab is the same as grab, except for you'll move forward when you release a held object. Use lets you determine an object that needs to be used, which is when you point a laser on it and left click in the case of VR, or in the case of desktop when you have the white reticule focus on it and you left click on the object. There's also a text box indicator that an object is currently usable or not, which you can show or hide with this selection here. And sometimes you want objects to only be able to be used if it is currently held by the user, and you can make that an option with this here. Snap is what I said, what you could utilize to put two objects together. This is where you are able to take objects and choose one to hold another. And by combining them together, you can make sure that an object is currently held by another so that they're attached together. Unsnap is when you take an object that was attached to another and have removed it. Proximity is triggered when you get within a certain distance between an object, or whenever two objects get within a distance of each other. Typically, though, you would want to utilize this with the player, so that when the player gets within a certain range of an object, the trigger will occur, but it does not have to be. Collide is when two objects come into contact with each other. Utterance is when you say a specific phrase or any intent, which you are able to type in here, which will go to more in depth in the authoring process. But in this case, the intent would be fulfilled when I said the words hello. And last is use release. This is where if you are currently using an object and you want the transition to occur when you stop using an object. Sometimes you're going to want complex interactions or interactions that can't be defined by those triggers. This is where you would utilize conditions. Conditions typically utilize the either question properties, which is whether an object or an answer was answered correctly or not, or the properties of the objects themselves. So if an object is at a given X, Y, or Z position or rotation, if it's currently visible, grabbed, or anything else, you're able to utilize the conditions through this manner, as well as utilizing customized attributes of the object. Sometimes you want triggers and conditions to be combined. These can be combined, in which case you have a use action with a condition, and unlike triggers, you can have as many conditions on an action as you desire. And with that, that is how you are able to create transitions between two objects.